Well, it looks like we have our first episode of She-Hulk, our next Marvel product to get excited for. And it's incredible. It really is the incredible She-Hulk. Everything the critics said, everything we went over in my previous video was all dead on. It's absolutely hilarious. Funny thing is, I don't remember laughing, so I'm kind of torn on, was it funny? No, it seems to me like there wasn't even an attempt made at being funny. That's how most of this shit comes across. Just remember, the Access Media said this show was absolutely hilarious. That's the words they used, and I haven't. What? I watched this episode. I went back and watched bits and pieces of it, and yeah, there's nothing funny in there. There really isn't anything funny at all. That's why I say it doesn't even look like they made the attempt to try and make people laugh. Unless, there's probably some things in here that they think's funny, and I'm just like, well, yeah, but it's not though. It's not funny, the shit they do in it. Most of it's, as we predicted, cringe. We've got cringe lines, cringe dialogue. Not that likable of a character to work with when it comes to Jennifer Walters. A bit of a know-it-all. She does say a few lines where I can only think to myself, just fuck off. That's really, really what it's like. But yeah, I wasn't going into this expecting anything anyway, because all the rest of the Disney Plus Marvel shows have been shit anyway. So I really wasn't expecting anything. And I fully expect this series to, the further we go into it, is probably going to get worse. Then we're going to run into Daredevil, and he's going to get destroyed. He's going to get destroyed, people. He most definitely is. But I suppose we'll dive in to She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Just remember, when it comes to this series, the head writer on this series doesn't know anything about law. If you haven't seen the video I've done, she came out and said, this was Jessica Gao saying this, she came out and said that we pitched the show as, a law type show, because originally it was meant to be more dealing with Abomination's trial. They turned up in the writer's room, didn't have a clue what to do. So don't expect anything in that department when it comes to the lawyer part of She-Hulk. Again, it's weird to me that you wouldn't have a clue about it, and then you would pitch that show. It seems like Kevin Feige maybe should have got the right people for the job, but no, Kevin Feige's not creative. But let's dive into it. Let us dive in. So we open up with this. She's practicing a closing statements or something. So it's all about, he had a power, a responsibility, whatever. And then this horrible toxic man tries to give Jennifer advice. And Jennifer's friend Nikki says, you're not helpful here because you're a man. You have a cock and balls. So don't you dare try and give someone advice. We all knew this shit was coming. They do delve more into that the further we go in this episode. We do get a big speech about how men are just bad. Typical. Again, when it comes to Jennifer Walters in this, at least in this episode, it's just typical female character. Within current era. It's very, there's not a lot of examples in recent years of good, well written female characters that are also likable. There's been a couple, we did have Arcane, we did have Everything Everywhere All at Once, but other than that, well, again, you're dealing with Marvel as well, so that's just the way they write their female characters. What can I say? But no, that toxic man gets kicked out the door saying, you're not helpful here. You are not helpful because you got a dick. She's about to go out to this trial, and then she breaks the fourth wall, Even the breaking the fourth wall stuff in this is fucking boring. It's boring. You know, it's not like a funny sort of thing, which is, you know, what it should be. It's just, oh, but you wanna know how I became She-Hulk. So I'm gonna tell you before I go and do my court stuff. So yeah, we've all seen this clip going about. So the reason why Bruce is able to stay as Bruce and not be Professor Hulk is because he's got some little device on his arm that makes him stay as just like Banner, makes him stay as Banner. So they clear that up. They clear that up because they knew people would have questions about why he's that way. He did it so his arm would heal, or did he? I think that was the reason why. After what happened in Endgame. And yeah, there's this hilarious thing that Jennifer Walters does, is she eats Cheetos with chopsticks. Ha 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 ha! These are the types of thing they are. It's just, oh, well, she eats Cheetos with chopsticks. Ugh. Because she doesn't want to get Cheeto dust on her hands. Very funny. Very, very funny. So funny. Honestly, I feel like I'm watching top tier comedy here. Top tier comedy. But no. That's when she starts talking about, oh, I need to know if Steve Rogers was a virgin. Ha ha ha. Ha ha, laugh again, audience. Laugh again at us just saying something. Just saying, was Steve Rogers a virgin? Because that's her whole thing. She's obsessed with knowing if Steve Rogers has fucked anybody. Don't know why, but she talks about, well, on the History Channel, it said he didn't have a girlfriend. Why would that would be part of a historical documentary? Don't know. And then she says, oh, and then he was the poster child, whatever, something like that. And then he was rushed to the front lines. No, what you clearly the History Channel's clearly got it wrong, because no, he was used as, you know, propaganda type thing, and then no one let him go into war. He did it on his own. So you got that wrong. But the writers probably didn't watch Captain America, did they? Probably not. No, that's too much research. That's too much research. They didn't even think that when they were writing a lawyer show that maybe they should just go and sit and watch some trials to get to see how they operate. They could have done that, but now they were like, nah, fuck it. Nah, we're just not bother. So yeah, too much research to do. There's this ship that pulls up. I don't know if you can see it there. Apparently, it's something. He talks about it later on. It's some courier trying to send a message, a warning, something like that. So I don't know exactly. I don't know what it is. Is it to do with Kree or something like that, or Skrulls, or Gardeners? I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, it just appears conveniently in front of them so they can crash, and then she can become She-Hulk. A car crash. A lovely car crash. Just what this series is going to be. So she, as you can see, she cuts herself on that little bit of metal. So she's cut her arm. Then she pulls Bruce out. She's got to save Bruce. And she gets blood in a like, she gets blood in her cut from Bruce. They changed the entire origin, not realizing that the origin would have been fucking great. If they used the origin of She-Hulk, that would have been some good shit. I believe it's where Bruce, where she gets shot by gangsters or something like that, and she needs a blood transfusion, and of course Bruce has the same blood as her, and it's him dealing with, should I do this or should I not? She'll have to deal with the same shit I've dealt with. So that would have been something that has weight to it. But no, can't have a man giving power to a woman. No. Can't have that, unfortunately. So we must sacrifice something that would have been good. Instead, it's just, oh, we get in a car crash, I cut my arm and I get Bruce's blood in me. Nah. Great. So she straight away turns into She-Hulk and runs off and wakes up in the woods. In the woods, there's this little town here. This little bar that she goes into. And we're getting to the scene that, according to Jessica Gao, was the most important scene in the episode. You'll never get it. You will never guess how important this scene is, how great it is, how groundbreaking it is. So she goes into the toilet, right? And all these gas cookers, let's just call them that, they all come in and then start helping her, saying, you've been beaten up, you've been, I don't know, wronged or something. This is what Jessica Gao was talking about before this show aired. This was the most important scene because women in a bathroom were getting along. Apparently, that was the most important scene. So they start, it's just bollocks, really. They start just throwing this stuff on her, trying to put makeup on her. But yeah, that was the important scene. Lasted about 30 seconds. Yeah, it was just women getting along in the shitter. That's it. That is it. And then some toxic men. Toxic men. They start asking. I forget what they say now, but they say some shit. Basically, they say we're just being friendly. We want to talk to you. How are you getting on? Stuff like that. But yeah, these just toxic men. Absolutely toxic. How dare they? How dare they approach Jennifer Walters? So she flips out, of course, because this was the people writing this show. That was their wet dream. They imagined themselves. What if I was green and big, and men came up to me so I could beat them up? Apparently, that was their big wet dream they had. So she goes for him a bit, and then she wakes up in the little villa we've seen in the trailer. She goes, I believe, yeah, so there's Iron Man. Remember Iron Man? Remember that? Good times. Good times. Don't have that now. So she goes down in the Bruce's little lab. He's been working away on something. So yeah, he explains to her that she's a Hulk. Apparently, it's something to do with their genetics or something, where the gamma ray, whatever, I don't know, synthesizes the blood in a certain way or something like that. Something along those lines. And I will point out that some of the voice work for Mark Ruffalo is absolutely awful. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or he's just said it badly, because he sounds like like an idiot. Like he's a bit slow up here. Where he goes, oh, like that. It's like, why are you talking like that? Just talk normal. Just talk normal. Better yet, how about give us the actual Hulk? I'd rather that. So yeah, he explains to her, and then he says he used her blood. Well, yeah, her blood had certain properties that were able to heal his arm. So she takes that as, so I'm better than you. You know, usually they don't say it, but here they do. They want you to know that Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, is better than the Hulk. Yeah, what is it she said? Oh, because I'm better than you? Shut the fuck up. And he's just like, no, it's just different. What are you talking about? So he's healed his arm. And yeah, like the blood because the blood samples he has, he burns them up, he like destroys them just in case it gets out, and then we end up with another Hulk. So yeah, I'm kind of assuming. So if all your relatives share the same, sort of genetics, should you not be sort of testing them as well, doing certain stuff with them? I don't know. I don't know if that would be worth it. But she starts yelling at him, saying, "I want to go back to law," and then she starts having a mental breakdown, and she wants some pancakes. Wow, great stuff. There hasn't been a joke yet, by the way. Even been an attempt. If there have, I've completely missed it. No, they describe this show as a comedy. Where's the comedy elements? Nowhere to be seen. No. Nowhere to be seen. But yeah, he starts... Like, because he says, oh, it will take you 15 years to be able to make sure you get this under control. So they put her in this thing. This bit we've seen in the trailer where Bruce says to her, oh, it's... Use your fear and anger. And she says, that's the baseline of a woman just existing. Shut up. Just shut up. He's trying to get her to think of something. She says, oh, what about a Pixar movie? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But yeah, he puts that towards her. She's screaming to let me out. Just like I'm doing with trying to get out of doing this show. And then, so we've seen all this. She picks up the door, does a scream. And then Bruce realizes, oh, she's still Jennifer. She's still Jennifer. And he's like, I feel a little jealous. Because, Bruce Banner had to, he even got to the point where he wanted to kill himself. Now he's a buffoon. Now he's a buffoon. Not even scary at all. He's like, I'm a little jealous about that. Again, he's actually went through some shit. She's just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just better than you. I'm better than you. Ha ha. You were tempted to off yourself, and I just show up and get it, and I can just breeze through it. But come on, let's make our move. Let's try and get through this shite. He's now beginning to train her in some... I don't know, he says it's evidence-based. Let's just call it psychotherapy, because I forget what he says. And then we get that hilarious scene from the final trailer where he blows a horn in her ear, and she wakes up and screams, and she says, that's for comedy. Didn't laugh, though. Didn't laugh. None of this is funny. None of it. That's, again, the Access Media said this was absolutely hilarious. Just want to keep pointing that out so people know that they're full of shit. So that's, then we get latex is your best friend. That's what I always wanted out of Hulk. Just give us back the Hulk. Everybody wants the Hulk back. It's so dumb that She-Hulk is getting her own thing before the Hulk does. So I know it comes down to rights, but still. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, he's still never had his own film. And we're at She-Hulk now. So they're doing all this jumping around, and then Jennifer, when she lands, starts saying men, men, men. I don't know why. I don't know what. I don't know what that's got to do with anything. I don't know what it's meant to... Is it meant to be funny? She just starts... She says, like, men, men, men. And then they do the balance thing. She's better than the Hulk. Then they do the ground pound. She's better than the Hulk. The Hulk pushes her off and says, says punk or something like that. She gets up and says, I'm clearly nailing it, all these things. I'm just better than you. I want to go back to my life as a lawyer. You've ruined my life. You've ruined my life. 45-year-old saying, you've ruined my life. Oh. But yeah, then he shows her the upsides, and that is that you can't get drunk. How is that an upside? It's not an upside. Because if you can't get drunk, what is the point in drinking? So yeah, apparently that's... How is it an upside? You think you would go, well, the upside is we've got strength, agility. No, it's we can't get drunk. They start talking about his bar. So he says, oh, him and Tony built the bar. Tony mostly drank and complained about Steve. Got to take a little shot at Tony Stark, and you had to do it, make him sound like a bitter old fool. And then they wake up. She's got a hangover. Still gets a hangover. Not really an upside now, is it? Not seeming like an upside at all. So, yeah, this is when we get the stuff where she's like, I don't want to be a superhero. I don't want to be a superhero. And he's like, oh, you, because I've make sure I wrote this down because it's very funny. Very funny. It wasn't intended to be funny, but I find it funny. And that is, so I think Bruce says to her, you need to control your anger and stuff like that. And apparently she's better than him at that. She's better. Well, no, what is it she says? I'm trying to see where it is. Yeah, apparently she has to control her anger infinitely more than the Hulk. And her reasoning on that is, let's read it. When I'm catcalled, when incompetent men explain my area of expertise, I do it I control my anger every day. If I don't, I'll be called emotional. Yeah, that's probably because anger is an emotion. That's why you would be called emotional. Because it is emotional. Or difficult. I'll be called emotional or difficult, or might just literally get murdered. Where the fuck did that come from? You'd literally get murdered because you got angry. Yeah, they seem to think that, because I read all this, I've done it all in a video. They seem to think that rage from men is more accepted than rage from women. We all know that to be bollocks. Absolute bollocks. Anyone believes that is very stupid. It doesn't take a lot of evidence to figure that out. But that's what they believe. They think if a man gets angry, nobody cares. Nobody cares. But if a woman gets angry, oh, call the cops. I might literally get murdered. Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? What are you actually talking about? It's just bollocks. They're just making up bollocks in their head. But we had that thrown in there. So she gets angry because you catcalled. Catcalling. You know, most people would be happy about that, wouldn't you? Lets you know you're attractive. I wouldn't mind being catcalled, but it's never going to happen, is it? Never going to happen. But where do we go? So yeah, she's just like, I want to leave. So after she goes through that whole feminist drama, of course. So yeah, she's a bit of an arsehole to the Hulk, bit of a bitch. She's complaining about, he just wants to help her. He's trying to explain to her that, with these powers, you should help people. But yeah, she's not for it. So she says some horrible things to him, like a bitch. And then she drives him. He tries to, he like stands in front of it to stop it. I don't know how he ends up on the bonnet. I don't know how he ends up on the top of it. And then he gets flung through that. So there you go, false marketing. Because they in the trailers they tried to make it look like she like threw him in there by doing like the clap. So he comes out and just says, what was he say? Yeah, why wouldn't you listen to someone who's been through this? Exactly. She's a know-it-all. That's why. She's a know-it-all. She says, because we're different. Because I've got a vagina and you've got a balls. That's apparently the difference. So no, you would still listen to someone that is experienced going through this same sort of thing. You would still listen to all their advice. You may not need all the advice, but why? It's because she's a know-it-all. She can't be taught. Can't be taught from a man. They've already said that as well in all the articles that came out. They said, no, She-Hulk's got things to teach him. The Hulk that's been the Hulk for 15 years or something. She's going to teach him about being Hulk. So they have their fight. They have their fight. Yeah, and then because they destroy the bar, so they build that. They rebuild that. Now they're both eating Cheetos with chopsticks. It's not funny. Just doing so. It's not funny, man. Come on. Oh. What is funny about this is apparently the head writer on this wrote the Pickle Rick episode. But in this, there's no comedy at all. They've probably been given free reign. That's why. So yeah, she goes home, and then we get our fake lawyer shit, and it shows that they don't know what they're doing. Because this guy here, who's the defense of the defendant, which is some corporation or something like that, where he's talking about it's. Oh, what does he say? I literally rewatched this part just to remember, and now I'm forgetting. But basically, he says some shit. It's like, what? Why would a lawyer say that? Why would a lawyer say that? That's kind of what it was like. I don't know how much they're going to lean into the law aspect of this, but they're not going to do very well. So that's the guy that we did see in the trailer. So I'm assuming she goes and works for him. And then this toxic man again. This toxic man says don't screw this up or something, and she's very angry about it. It's the same guy that tried to help her at the start of the episode, that got told, no, you're not helpful because you've got a cock and balls. So she gets up to give her closing arguments, and then that transvestite busts through the wall. She comes through the wall. I forget her name now. I don't give a shit. What is it what is it they call her again? Why am I forgetting the name of her? You know, whatever. Fuck it. So, her friend Nikki's trying to tell her, you need to help out, and she's just like, I don't want to ruin these shoes or this suit. It's like, well, that's more important than helping people, isn't it? Tatiana, that's it. That's who it is. Is it? That sounds right. Sounds right. This is barely a fight. She punches her once and it's done. It's done. They didn't want to spend too much time on that. They didn't want to give us an epic fight. No, it was just one punch, you're done. And then that's the end of the episode. Roll on episode 2, where it's going to get worse. Where it's going to get. They always play it safe on the first episode. Always play it safe. It was still dog shit. But it wasn't. I don't know. And then some song comes on that's, of course, singing about a woman. Why not? Who's that woman or something like that? I don't know what they say. That's the name of the episode. Whose show is this? It's like, we already know whose show it is. Now, if it was a male character that was the main character, I would question that. I'd go, whose show is it really? Well, it's clearly a woman's. So that is the episode. I'm not looking forward to Daredevil showing up. I'm really not. I think we get a mid-credit scenes, because that's what we need. Just put it in the fucking show. I just don't get this having a mid-credit scene for a TV show. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. If you're going to do it, just end the episode and then play that clip after that. Although it's a useless clip anyway. It's a useless... What? It's not about anything. It's not leading up to anything. It's more of just one of those, ha 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 ha. Here's our unfunny comedy again. So yeah, Hulk explains to her that Steve Rogers was not a virgin. He had sex in. Why is this a part of the show? Just remember, this is for also a younger audience as well. That's Disney, though. That's Disney for you. That is Disney. So, yeah, as it ends, she screams, Steve Rogers, fuck, and then it cuts off. I don't know why she was obsessed with it, to be honest. But that gets us done with that. Done with it for a week. And it's just more pathetic shit. It's cool. It's meant to be a comedy, not funny. It's not funny. That's probably one of the biggest issues in this. It's not funny. It's not funny. The main character, that being She-Hulk, is a bit of a know-it-all. She says, "Oh, I'm better. You mean I'm better? You mean I'm better?" She has a few speeches about how men are bad. Men are bad, and women. It's just so hard for women. Just so hard. We are such victims in this male-dominated society. We haven't had the incel stuff yet. By the way, just in case you don't know, there is a character called Todd that is like a Tony Stark wannabe, and he plays on the social commentary of misogyny and incel culture. So we've got that to come. I'm looking forward to that. They're gonna destroy Daredevil. Gonna destroy him. And I will destroy them. That's what I say about that. But there's our first episode. I'm gonna finish off now because this really didn't need to be as long as it was. It really didn't. Because it was a very hollow episode. It was just, I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I'm just like... but yeah, there's people will defend it. Of course they will. Of course they will. People will say it was absolutely hilarious. I was pissing in my pants. And those people are liars. But I'll finish off there anyway. That does us for that episode. Sunday we've got House of the Dragon. I'm going to be reviewing that, which I don't think we in the UK. I don't think we get the episode till the Monday, early Monday morning. So I probably won't have that review out till Monday unless I find it somewhere else. Unless I find the episode somewhere else. But that's the next thing on the way. And then we've got the Rings of Power, then we've got Andor. But luckily, we've got Cobra Kai, September 9th. So there is some things to look forward to. But yeah, I'll see you on the next review.